In this podcast, I want to cover how to actually weight the shoulder area. Now, this is an important area in our rig because we have a lot of influence here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints that are all kind of in play here. So this is probably one of the more complicated areas to deal with, and this can be translated to almost every other area in a character. Now, main thing is just like before, we're going to move our joint down, and I want to fix the top part first, and then I'm going to go in and fix the bottom part on here. Now what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to wait to the clavicle yet. I'm going to do that as a separate process. So we're just going to pretty much wait to the arm, the back, and the back system, and we're going to go back and forth between these. So I'm going to go in and let's go and start doing some weighting. So I'm going to go into my shoulder influence, and you can see how the verts up here, this edge flow is way too high. We've got this really long stretching. Now some of this needs to come back up, but this part needs to come down. So with my add tool on, I can just start bringing this down like this. Okay. I don't need to come up that high. Okay. I'm just kind of starting to move. Now I'm going to go back to my back, and I'm going to bring some of this back up. And by doing this, I'm establishing that I can do my smoothing. Okay. So I got a pretty strong weight there, so I want to add some back in there so my smoothing doesn't freak out. Okay, so now we're going to do some smoothing. It's a little dangerous. I smooth an area is completely black. It doesn't always freak out, but it's something I'm always conscious about. Okay, so that's actually starting to look okay. Okay, so now I'm going to move my arm up. Now, I'll warn you, your arm can't do this. It can literally only raise about that much, and then the rest is coming from the clavicle. But I just want to see a normal blend. Like here, I kind of want this to blend a little bit more up here, and this should be blending a lot more down here. So same thing with this. I'll add some weighting under my arm like that, and I'll go back to my back. I'm smoothing this whole time, so let's undo that. Okay, let's go to add. Go back in my back. It's a strong weight right there. Go back in my arm. So now I'm going to smooth. Now this isn't going to be perfect at this point. I'm just trying to get the edge flow to look kind of clean, like it was modeled in this direction. And then I'll pose it again. Now the dangerous thing about this part, and that you got to think about every area, is that if I do weight this to look perfect this way, you're completely going to destroy the stuff up here. And I can see how this could probably have a little more weighting here. It should have an even stretching. I shouldn't see these warps on here. And the only thing I would go in here and fix this with a smooth is just the lines were even. Because when we do stretchy systems, this edge loops, if they're not even, the texture is going to freak out too, because it's moving the UVs in the same way. Okay, so you shouldn't be weighting to one extreme entirely to another extreme. The main thing is we need to be able to do this. We need to be able to bring our arm like that. And no, I know that's an extreme coming from here to here, but this is something we're going to use more often. And considering the arm won't really lift above this, we can let the clavicle do that. So I'm going to pull it more, a little bit more, so I can. Now, I entering no on here is with this, I'm going to have to add a little weight here. And I'm on a very small brush, so I'm only putting a little bit amount of weighting. You see how I kind of uniformly go around the whole area when I do that? Okay. It's like I'm building rings out. And now I go through and I'll just even that off. I know I'm going to have to add weighting in 2 different areas. I'm going to have to add weighting. I'm going to have to add weighting from the back into this area to make the arm collapse in a little bit. When you have these transition areas, it's very rare that we have a complete white on the other area. Okay, so I will put a little tiny amount of weight. That's not a tiny amount of weight, so I'm going to put even less. I'm going to put 0.05, and like I said, this comes back to the, having a Wacom tablet on here. This makes life a whole lot easier. Okay. Like I said, I normally do bring that around. Okay, let's bring it down and see if we can close that off a little closer. It's getting close. I want to clean this up area a little bit here. And you can see how when a little weighting on the top here, how it kind of does this little skin sliding up here. Okay. It's getting close. I'll go my smooth. Ooh, that's a pretty extreme smooth. Okay, so somebody's getting hooked onto the wrong vert. So let's go back into my arm. Sometimes I can fix it. This can also be another nice time to go into my display and turn off my my color feedback, and so I can see the character. I can even turn the wireframe off too, which I have my show wireframe on, wireframe unshaded, and I can see what it looks like on that. So it needs a little more cleanup on it, but it's getting kind of close. That's pretty much our arm. That's the same process for the neck, the head, even the torso. I'll wiggle and move them back and forth. The difference with the torso is you're going to be twisting around the x-axis in the final ones. That's a rare one I don't have on here. But there you go.